Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the holiday extravaganza Cycle 1 recaps. I'm Jameson.
It's Corey.
There's Corey right there, right where he always is.
Sure, man. In a new place. Yeah, man. Ready to keep rolling with our Cycle 1 award show. We're on to episode 6 at this point. In our little mini casts, handing out awards for our selections for standout cards in Cycle 1.
What are we on to today, Corey?
Well, today's episode, we're chatting about our standout ally. And this is comparing all the allies from all the different aspects to even allies that come in specific hero decks and things like that.
Yeah, and what we're talking about here is a card that we feel stands out to us. We are not saying this is the best. We're not saying this is the most powerful. We're just saying this is a card we really like the design. It's really fun to play with. It's something that is either incredibly impactful. So there's a lot of behind the scenes mathematical, like something, pi r squared, and
there's a huge chart we've put all the ally cards up on. We've been moving them around, scoring them points, and we just landed on these are the ones that had the most points.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of ones that we can talk about. Cherie in the Black Panther kit, she's really intricate and a pinnacle card in that Black Panther set, but that is not kind of like a standout for us.
Right.
There are other ones that people like to talk about, and there was a lot of ones in Cycle 1 that there just wasn't that plethora of stuff in the set yet, or in your collection. So you kind of had to go to, like, I think a lot of people were throwing in Mockingbirds. There's a lot of talk around Lockjaw for a while, but where we get into some of the most meaningful kind of heroes, allies, are inside of the leadership set. So there was some ones that, let me just raffle them off, like, Maria Hill, Hawkeye, Vision. I mean, Hawkeye it was pretty much a staple back in in the core set days. You wanted him there.
Yeah.
You were, I mean, he was basically your bread and butter against an Ultron build almost sometimes, right?
Right. Longest ally to sit on the table because you didn't want to do anything with them, because you didn't want to take any damage, risk losing unused tokens.
Exactly. Some other fan favorites are Squirrel Girl and Falcon and Vision. Now, these are all fine and dandy for what they do and where they are, but they didn't stand out to guys like me.
To us. Yeah, they're great allies. They're fun, cool allies, but they didn't have that pop or that excitement factor that the standout ally had.
Yeah, and this is coming, I mean, I'll speak for myself. This is coming from somebody who's always scratching his head about the cost ratio of allies to everything else. So, it took a lot. It takes a lot to make an impression for a good ally. For a guy like me, I'm somebody who doesn't just go to Sidekicks Anonymous and get myself an ally here. Right, I put them through vigorous interviews. It's like this 15-step process, but it was very, very hard for us to say there was one, because we went back and forth. We went back and forth like a ping pong match. We just named a whole bunch of cards that are not, our top standout ally card. So you could be thinking, and you could have narrowed it down very quickly. To what we are, but we're going to start with an honorable mention throwout. And Corey, you want to talk about this honorable mention one?
That's right. There are, I think, a couple categories where it was so gridlocked that we had to come up with an honorable mention position. So it's like the silver medal You were almost there, not quite, or you were neck and neck with what we ended up picking. But our honorable mention selection for this category ended up being the Hulk Bruce Banner ally card. So big reason, and I'll let Jameson take a little bit more on this, but we referenced this card so much throughout Cycle 1 as a mechanic that we loved and we wanted to see more of in the game. And that's also, if you ever watch like our Scarlet Witch video and stuff like that, there's things like that we see coming and happening that really play on this mechanic a lot more, that we're hyped on. This was such a cool effect at the time it came out, and it was a very good like risk reward card to play around with. It was just fun. It's a fun card to play with. Go for it, Jameson.
Boom! There you go. This was a standout fun card for an amazing mechanic that we were so thirsty to see so much more design space explored with, that I was kind of in shock that it took as long as Scarlet Witch to start seeing kind of it creep up again, because it's, again, we talk about playing games and the stories that you can tell after this game is over, the smiles, the letdowns, the frustrations, when someone brings out Hulk, everyone's like, yes, this is awesome. But then when Hulk attacks, oh, well, he's the Hulk. It's so thematic that you don't know how much damage this one card is going to do to you. The risk for reward, I will even say the risk for reward is so slim because it's only a 2-cost ally. Like, how is this such a fun ally to play at 2 cost? But then you have other allies that cost so much more. I wish this wasn't such an aggression card. Again, I can see the theme behind it, but I would put this in every deck that I could possibly play with if I could.
Yeah.
Corey,
I hope we see more stuff like this. As we see more and more stuff with Scarlet Witch and more of this mechanic, this is a cool thing to play with. It may not make everyone at the table excited. There are some people who like to have like perfect information, know exactly what's going to happen, and those people feel a lot more comfortable. But to the people who like to roll the dice and go for the big wins, cards and mechanics like this are just fun, just really fun to play around with.
And as the game goes on, this card is only going to get better and better and better. This has like that creep syndrome, an early card that was designed with such a mechanic that is going to be very, very hard to balance later on, because you're going to be able to control a lot more about what's in your deck. And mitigate the symbol that comes up, and we've already seen some of that with the actual Hulk deck itself. Like, I mean, the whole kit, is basically one symbol, and then you can just control the aspect and pieces that you can plug into it around it. So it's such a cool thing to have. And a very cool card, but it's not the standout card. There's a card, again, that kind of is so niche, so kind of like you kind of need. He's such that iconic figure that his presence is, demands respect when he gets kind of brought to the table. Corey, let's cut right to it. What is our bad publicity Cycle 1 award-winning ally? Who's going to come up and take the trophy this time?
The award goes to, I'm sure you might have guessed it, to Nick Fury. The old faithful, the ally that shows up in the nick of time and does exactly what you need to happen to keep you in the game. He's just like, he's such a cool guy. He shows up, he either removes threat, draws you cards, deals damage, and then he can block or attack for you, thwart. He's just so versatile. You get so much out of him. Yeah, so what if he goes away at the end of the round? Who cares? He's done so much for you showing up. He's helped like swing, hopefully, you back in the positive where you're standing, that it's fine. it's worth the resources usually with all the utility you get out of them. So big fan of this card. I think it gives a lot of really cool choices to the player and what they want to do with them, since they have so many options when he hits the table. It's just a real fun standout card.
I think what a good game does for a player is let the player play the game. What Nick Fury does, Corey, you know, your last sentence there kind of is my whole reasoning behind why this card stands out so much, is because it lets the player play the game, and by making them make choices. It's one of those things where, you know, it's not I'm going to make you choose between something good and something bad. It's I'm going to make you choose between a whole bunch of good things.
But you only get one.
But you're only going to get one. And it's a little bit of that tempo too, right? Like, you know, I'm going to bank up. I've got to get my, you know, four resources cost here. I got to play him for 4. And then I got to go boom, 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 right? Like I need a lot of stuff to happen that turn. Like you said, I need his response effect to fire. I need him to either, you know, attack or thwart. I need him to maybe defend something, you know, mitigate. He's doing a lot of work the turn he comes out, and it's just so versatile having it in every playstyle as a basic. We love Nick Fury. Lots of our decks will, you know, include Nick Fury if you need an ally, if you need that cleanup, that enforcer. I love the choices that are available to you when you play this card. Great design space, very well done. I have to say that I'm a little worried going forward, where this is again core set creep or core set holdback. I don't know what they call it. When these power cards are released in core set, and I don't know anything that could possibly take the crown from them. Nick Fury, well done, man. It was your year.
Yeah, so thematic of a card. Like, because you think about, like, even if you just took like the cinematic universe, like how often he pops up, he just shows up like out of nowhere, like random parts and credits, and it's just like that's very much how this card is, right? He just like pops up and he's like, "Hey, I'm here for you. What do you need?" And takes care of it, and then disappears. So
sometimes this card is so thematic that you'll win the game, and then you'll be like, "Where's my Nick Fury?" And you'll go like, "Oh, here he is." So he came up in the after credit scene, right? Like,
God, nice. That's what you come here for, folks. So, all right. So yeah. So there you have it. That was our standout card for allies.
Man, we are on fire. The discussions are coming in. We've had a lot of good things. I mean, we were supposed to film and start filming a while ago, but Corey and I were just kind of going through and talking back. There was a lot of good discussions that was prompted from the comments that we're seeing, you know, to these. So please keep that up. You know, please continue to like, and if you haven't subscribed, you know, do that. It really helps us out here at Bad Publicity, and we thank you every episode for it. So we give you something that is meaningless and costless, and you give us something meaningless and costless back. We play for your internet karma. Thank you.
Yep. And I've got one more announcement before we head out.
Oh.
Because next time we're going to be picking our standout hero from Cycle 1.
That seems like
it's one of the big ones.
Seems like, oh man.
So stay tuned.
Thank you very much. Have a great holidays, guys. Or not holidays if you watch this late. Bye.